This is Fantasy Football Picks and Bets presented by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com, use code MMN at first deposit and get yourself a deposit match of up to $100. We got waiver wire, injuries, and the Monday Night Football Prize Picks kicking it off right now. So head on over to prizepicks.com. Once again, code MMN at prizepicks.com to get yourself that match deposit of up to $100. Looking at two separate things tonight for Monday Night Football, and if Monday Night Football is already passed by the time you're watching this, just skip ahead, use the time codes, obviously. Najee Harris, more than 12.5 fantasy points. No Jaylen Warren in this game. Not too sure how much of a rotation they're actually going to use at running back now that Harris actually seems like he is fully healthy. So even if he can't score a touchdown, you think you can run on the Colts. You pick up, let's say, 60 to 70 yards. You get 7 points right there. It's the check down game with Kenny Pickett where he's not running as much and dumping it down to Harris as we saw once Warren left the game a week ago, that he can pile up like 4 for 24 pretty quickly, and then all of a sudden you're well above this number. So I really like Najee Harris more than 12.5 fantasy points. And then Paris Campbell, the Frenchman, on the other side of the ball. The pass defense for the Steelers, not great. You'd think it would be good, but it's not. It's not good. TJ Watt might dump Matt Ryan 87 times tonight. Maybe he'll never get a pass off. That's within the range of outcomes for sure. But Paris Campbell has been the apple, outside of Michael Pittman, of Matt Ryan's eye since he has returned to the starter's role. Alec Pierce has been shoved to the side. Granson, Mo Alley Cox, Jelani Woods may not even play in this game. It's just Campbell, Taylor, and Pittman. That's it. 41.5 receiving yards. We'll go more than that. And hopefully we can dodge some of the injuries that we faced in a very, very poor effort on Sunday. That sucked a lot. We go 200 to pay 600 and hopefully get back on the winning track on prizepicks.com. Once again, code MMN at prizepicks.com to get your plays in. Let's jump over to the injury report for week number 12. I guess week number 13 at this point. All of this is available in the Mayo Media newsletter. You can even click on it as a link that's available down in the description. Just type in your email right here, get it sent right to you. Easy stuff. As mentioned, Jaylen Warren out for Monday Night Football. Travis Etienne had a foot injury. It was not the same foot where he had the Liz Frank that caused him to miss all of last season. So that's good news. Doug Peterson also said that he could have potentially returned to the game, but Jermichael Hasty was looking pretty good, so they ended up keeping him in. I guess he's going to be fine. We'll see how the week goes for Travis Etienne. They also signed Darrell Henderson, so be cognizant of that if any sort of running back rotation ends up coming through. Hopefully he's fine. Hopefully he continues to be as good as he was before the Baltimore game once James Robinson left, and here we are. So hopefully he's fine. Elijah Mitchell exited the game. He has a possible MCL sprain. Guy can't stay healthy, so that's bad news on that front. Christian McCaffrey also got hurt in that game. That's why you started seeing Jordan Mason in the backfield for the San Francisco 49ers, and why McCaffrey wasn't in on that 2-minute drill to end the first half, why Elijah Mitchell was in the game. But he continued to play through it. He had a terrible game, so keep an eye on him moving forward. Michael Carter hurt his ankle. No word yet on the severity, but we got Jonathan Knight. Bam Knight was the primary backup who ended up coming into the game. We saw Ty Johnson end up with the catch. James Robinson was a healthy scratch for the game, so Bam Knight going forward if there is no Michael Carter in the Jets backfield, apparently. Raheem Mostert, Leonard Fournette, and Joe Mixon all did not play this week due to a hip, knee, and concussion, so keep an eye on them, and they could all be back this coming week. So if you missed the recap show, that's up on Mayo Media Network right now in the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast feed. Highly recommend that you check it out. Arizona and Carolina are on bye, obviously. I have Gus Edwards back at the top of the running back rankings. Now, you know I love me some Gus Bus. He ends up finding the end zone. He was the primary running back in the Ravens backfield. He's the only one with sort of a clear line of for sure playing time of all the available running backs at the moment. Zonovan Knight, Bam Knight for the Jets goes in second because it does seem like Joe Mixon will return. I mean, you should probably own P. Ryan anyway. You saw the value he can have if Joe Mixon is out, but he's no longer going to be the starter if Joe Mixon returns. Ditto with Jermichael Hasty. If Etienne is out for an extended period of time, It's him or Darrell Henderson. I have Hasty at 4, Henderson at 6. Don't love either. I'm guessing it would be Hasty at this point just because he's more ingrained into Doug Peterson's offense. However, if they just made the switch to Darrell Henderson over Hasty, if Etienne has to miss time, then all of a sudden we're not in a great spot. So they're not very high up on the list. Jordan Mason is number 5 for me as well, in case this Christian McCaffrey injury is a little bit worse than maybe we thought. Tyrion David Price, definitely not active yesterday. Maybe he ends up coming off the injury, ends up being active for the 49ers. That's a Mason, Tyrion Price split backfield. Who knows? But at this point, Jordan Mason would be the speculation play for me in the 49ers backfield. Other than that, you have Kieran Williams, who sucks. Like, they're not doing anything in the Rams offense, but if you need a fresh body, he's somewhat available. He's at least their pass-catching back over Cam Akers at this point with Bryce Perkins at quarterback. Kenyon Drake, if anything happens to Gus Edwards. Alexander Madison, if anything happens to Dalvin Cook. And Keontae Ingram, although Corey Clement got a little bit of run for the Cardinals, Ingram is the primary backup to James Conner right now. And when we get to the snap shares, you'll see that's pretty important because James Conner playing an awful lot of snaps at the moment, the most of any running back in football last week. 97% of the time that Arizona took an offensive snap, James Conner was on the field. You see Ingram at 9% of the snaps. I'm not saying that Ingram would get 97% of the snap share, but he could get like 70, which would still be pretty valuable. So you have Conner, Rashad White filling in for Leonard Fournette. I thought that Gio Bernard would potentially play a role in this. He did not whatsoever. So, yeah, nice work, Pat. Bad call. I still like White, so we're good. If I would still expect White to be the lead should Fournette come back as they ease him back, get him ready for playoff Lenny mode because they might make the playoffs at 5-12 or something like that. But White probably 60% instead of 91% of the snap shares, likely where I would be looking at here. Dalvin Cook, 85% of the snaps. Latavius Murray, 83% of the snaps. Marlon Mack recently signed, played 10%. If they ran the ball more and were more competitive, Murray would be great. They had a bunch of shots down at the goal line in the second half towards the end. They couldn't really afford to run and milk any more clock, but Murray ends up getting in there instead of not getting in. All of a sudden, he has 17 fantasy points, and we're talking about, man, what a great play. So I actually like Latavius Murray going forward. After that, you have Ramondre Stevenson. Damian Harris got hurt on Thursday Night Football. We'll see how severe that injury is going forward. Pirine, Jacobs, Hasty played 78% of the snaps. Snoop Conner was the primary backup as Darrell Henderson was not active for that game. So it was a big split in terms of Hasty. Singletary, Barkley, Ken Walker. Ken Walker's snap share was down a little bit. He was at 71% versus Travis Homer, who ended up scoring a receiving touchdown, was at 21%. So that's more of a split than we're used to seeing. And then we can see Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson swung back the other way, where we had Brian Robinson at 50%, Antonio Gibson at 40%. That can always switch back week to week, so just keep an eye on that. Both are reasonable flex plays, low-end running back 2 plays moving forward for the Washington Commanders. Wide receiver injuries, only one big one of note. Darnell Mooney, probably out for the season for the Chicago Bears, which means you're going to get more Claypool, but it kind of seems like he doesn't know the offense whatsoever. Byron Pringle ends up catching a touchdown after Mooney leaves. And you have Equanimeous St. Brown there. So those two guys probably from more of a PPR perspective, but we still don't know how long Justin Fields is going to be out. Is that better? Is that worse? I really don't know what's going on with the Bears offense. Play David Montgomery. He's good. If Fields plays and he doesn't have a separated shoulder, play him. That's about all you really want to do in the for the Bears fantasy-wise going forward. Lots of DNPs, though. Russell Gage, Kadarius Toney, Rondell Moore, Mike Williams, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Jamar Chase, Romeo Doubs, and the human Dortch. He was not on fire on Sunday. He did not play on Sunday. None of those guys played on Sunday. Allen Robinson is now out for the season. Josh Reynolds gets the old DNP because, well, actually, no, he was in, but he actually did not play in the game because I ended up playing him on DraftKings. Didn't do anything. Hopefully, now that he's closer to being back, he'll play this week in a primo matchup against the Jags. Corey Davis did return for the New York Jets as well. So in terms of pickups, I still have Donovan Peoples-Jones at number 1. We have Deshaun Watson coming back. That should be good news for him unless he was just a Jacoby Brissett manifestation. We'll see. Darius Slayton continues to get the most run of all the Giants receivers. Jameson Williams could be active this week for the Detroit Lions. He almost made it back for last Thursday. He was the highest pick in the draft. I don't know how comfortable or how up to speed he's going to be right away. Probably another reason never to play Josh Reynolds again. But we'll see. Bye-bye to Khalif Raymond. But Jameson Williams, I mean, if this guy's as good as he was in college, he is going to absolutely light it up for the Lions on that fast track against a bad defense. He's widely available. He could be a league winner. I like him more than Treylon Burks, who I have at number 4. I don't love Treylon Burks, although he has the body of a tight end, so he can go muscle up for some of these balls. Just the Titans, optimally, when they're scoring points, they are going to be running the ball a lot, and Treylon Burks isn't going to be there to recover Derrick Henry fumbles for touchdowns every single week. Remember that. Sky Moore at 5, Mac Hollins at number 6, Corey Davis, Zay Jones coming off a big week, Nico Collins, and Demarcus Robinson round out the top 10 at wide receiver. In terms of tight end injuries and quarterback injuries, Isaiah Likely did not play for the Baltimore Ravens. Josh Oliver ends up with over 70 yards in that game after stupid Mark Andrews dropping stupid touchdowns right to him. Damn it! Mark Andrews killing me. But that was the only DMP and massive injury that we saw. Obviously, if you watch Sunday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers exited the game with ribs injuries. Jordan Love comes in. After the game, they reported that he was on the sidelines. They reported it was an oblique injury. It was actually a ribs injury. He said that he couldn't breathe at certain points. I don't know whether he's going to be back all season or this is just a non-factor and he's starting next week. You'll have to keep an eye out for that. Matt Stafford did not play. Wouldn't expect him back at all. Jimmy G is going to have tests on his knee this week. He stayed in the game, but did not look super effective or mobile moving forward. So we'll see. I think it was his plant leg as well. So keep an eye on Jimmy G's knee going forward before we get like some rando. But Dirty Purdy would come in and start for the San Francisco 49ers, which would really limit their upside. Not going to lie to you. Justin Fields, I don't see how they can play him at all with a separated shoulder, but the Bears are dumb, so they'll probably end up playing him anyway. But I would not love his rushing prospects until I hear some absolute concrete facts that his shoulder is actually okay and he can take some contact. Pickups at tight end, not really much has changed here. Moreau, Dulcich, Evan Ingram, 1, 2, 3. That's the clear top 3 for me. Trey McBride continues to get the targets, continues to drop all these targets, but hey, he's highly involved. That was consistent for Colt McCoy, and that was consistent for Kyler Murray. He is taking the Zach Ertz role. There is fantasy value to be mined from Trey McBride at some point. I like the other 3 guys better, but that's the one that I would take the chance on over Joanna Man Johnson, Tyler Conklin, Austin Hooper. I would just prefer the top 3, then McBride, and one of those guys will be available in your league. Quarterback streams, Deshaun Watson. He's only available in like 30% of ESPN leagues, so there's a chance he is available in your league. Probably not, but there's a chance that he's there. He's at Houston, a revenge scenario in his first game back. Super easy matchup. We saw Tua post 300 on him in the first half, so get Watson. Maybe it's a lot of handing off, or maybe they unleash him. Who knows? But we know what the upside is for Watson, so I would take my shot on him this week. Jimmy G, as long as he is okay, gets Miami, who's secondary you can light up. Kenny Pickett, ditto for at Atlanta. Goff at home against Jacksonville. Jordan Love at Chicago, should Aaron Rodgers miss time. Then Heineke at the Giants, although I see that more as a back and forth running stupid game where it comes down to a field goal at the last second. Defenses to stream, Cleveland, they're only like 6% owned. They're at Houston, just play them. They're going to be one of the top defenses of the week. Seattle at home, at the Rams. The Rams stink, so continue to pile up Seattle Z, although they're not very good. Green Bay at Chicago, whether it's a banged-up Fields or Trevor Siemian or Nathan Peterman. I know Green Bay's defense can't tackle. That's problematic. If Fields was at 100%, wouldn't recommend this play, but he's not. So Green Bay's D. Giants at home against Washington. Minnesota at home against the Jets. Atlanta at home against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at Atlanta rounds out the defensive waiver wire pickups of the week. You can find the full waiver wire column on DKNation.com. The link is down in the description. You can also find it in the newsletter. Hit the link, sub to it for free anytime. Smash the like while you're here as well. If anything changes in terms of injuries or waivers, they'll both be updated in the column. This is a video, and I can't edit this after the fact once it's posted. I understand that 98% of you understand that, but there's a 2% that are complete fucking morons and don't get that. All right? So I guess even me saying this is probably not going to clue you in. Just hit the links. They'll be updated in there. All right, go to MMN at prizepicks.com. Let's get back on our winning ways. We won last Monday night. Got off our Monday night losing streak. We had a great weekend winning streak. Now it's a 2-game losing streak. So if we can get a 2-game winning streak on Monday Night Football, Paris Campbell, Najee Harris, over MMN at prizepicks.com to get that match deposit up to $100. I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.